Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again, I'm your host, Doc Rodden, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies, and occasionally a TV show. Each week, my co-hosts, Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Christopher G. Mohr, and myself will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we are reviewing Slasher Ripper, Episode 6, streaming on SHUDDER. Wow, I had to say that kind of slow to make sure I got all the right words in the right place, but I think I did. All right, with me this week is my co-host, Jeff Mohr. Jeff, sir, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
You are. I like your shirt.
Yep.
I had lots of things to say, and I decided not to say any of them. So.
Oh, wow.
That's such a
that
weird.
makes me a little
You're giving your all here.
Such a weird tease. Oh my gosh. All right. Also joining this week is Crystal Cleveland, the living dead girl. How you doing, Crystal?
I'm fabulous. Can't wait to
Yes, you are.
put the detective. Okay.
Where are you going with this?
Just move on.
What?
I don't know.
What is wrong with?
All right.
I don't know.
Also joining us, award-winning
I don't
filmmaker,
know.
Christopher G. Mohr.
I'm doing well. I'm going to continue trying to do my impersonation of the detective on this show.
Oh no.
Trying to figure out what's going on
Actually,
in this show.
that's actually pretty accurate, though. I mean,
What are
you
you
know, I know-
doing?
even
I
as
need
you
to-
trying to ham it up, I can actually. It's like,
No.
well,
It's
yeah.
like Keanu Reeves and William Shatner mated. That's what you would get for that detective.
Oh, I'm so sorry, dude, but that's true. Like, if they watch this,
It's a
that was
choice.
pretty.
It's a
That
choice.
was, that was true. That was.
But at least we have some of the other cool people like William McCormick and Magician guy.
Eric McCormick, but yes.
William
William
What did I call
McCormick was down the street. Yeah, he'll be here later.
Yeah,
all
one of the McCormick boys.
One of the McCormick boys. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to review this episode. We're going to give you our first impressions. Those first impressions will be spoiler-free, no worries. And then we'll get into a discussion. And when we do, we're going to get into spoilers because this is kind of it's a whodunit. So we got to talk about the whodunits.
Yes. True.
And then we'll wrap things up with don't shake your head. Wrap up with our score 1 to 5. And our score.
Because it distracts him. I'm
And
sorry.
our favorite scene. Oh my goodness.
Squirrel.
I hope you enjoyed.
If
Not
I
only this
were being, I'd be
review,
like,
but many others that we have on the site. Don't do that. If you do, please hit the like, subscribe, share with us. Red buttons.
I
Each one
apologize.
is easy for you to do, and each one will help us find more horror fans just like you.
Exactly.
Subscribe.
Exactly.
Please.
I just want to take a moment before we get into things to mention that we are celebrating 10 years of podcasting
God.
with Horror News Radio, Gruesome Magazine, and Decades of Horror. And the celebration started in April with our review of Evil Dead Rise. Christopher was very happy about that. And then
Still
continues all the way through February of 2024, concluding with our inaugural Grue-Crews, where the Grue-Crew and Grue believers will join together on a cruise and have 3 days of horror and fun in the sun.
The Grue-Crews.
And
You
Hey.
you need to record that. That
Soon
would be
we'll
listeners,
be
listeners
making
are
another
highly
one.
encouraged to join, right?
Highly.
Yes.
Highly.
Yeah.
Highly.
Totally. Come
Yes.
come
Come
sail
with
the seas.
Come play with us. Come play with us.
Join.
Come drink
us.
with us.
Yes,
Join
you too can
us.
argue with us face to face.
Oh.
Yes. Everyone can beat me up for my extreme views sometimes.
All right, let's get into things. Let's look at the card. Slasher Ripper, episode 6, Resurrections, available streaming on Shudder. I think it started on April 28th, 2023. It's available now. The synopsis: the pressure gets to Israel, who admits to her and 7 other involvements in Margaret's death. Kenneth secures the suspects, freeing only Israel to operate on a friend of Regina's, inadvertently putting her in the widow's clutches. Directed by Adam McDonald, written by Lucy Page. The cast includes William McCormick. There you go. Eric McCormick. Sorry, that was a joke. Tom Allison, Gabriel Darku, Lisa Berry, Paula Brancati, Sadie LaFlamme Snow. There's a flame in the snow. I like that. Claire McConnell. I stuttered because the Israel in here, ironically, we have another review we're going to do, and there's an Israel in that too. So I was like, oh no, oh no. Okay, nobody knows what I'm talking about, and that's fine. All right, let's get into our first impressions. And Crystal, you are up first. What is your first impression of episode 6?
So this isn't my favorite episode, but it's a very worthwhile episode. I mean, you know, I will say it seems like the episodes where we like progress the story quite a bit, and this feels like it does for me, because I always wondered where the heck the doctor came in on this, because she technically wasn't at the party, and so it was always confusing to me as far as like, how is she involved here? Well, it makes a lot of sense. Being who she is, everything kind of like goes, oh, okay. I feel like this episode was a little bit of a turnoff for me, because I feel like the widow's motivations were confusing. And I like consistency with my story, and I don't understand why you kind of say one thing, but you're doing another. And technically, she wasn't involved. I don't know. I guess it bothered me a bit in that regard. But I did like seeing more of the pastor, actually. Whereas before, I was just, what? This weirdo? I liked seeing a little bit of it. We got to see a little bit of his anger. We got to see more of the actual widow. You know, not the one. And I think their relationship is interesting. So I still have no idea who did this. And that is all. I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it. Okay. And I enjoyed some of the stuff we found out, but there was, okay. Well, the sisters kind of make the show, you know, at points.
Especially toward the end. All right, Christopher, what was your first impression of episode 6?
There was the Ukrainian ladder.
Yes.
I enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed this episode more than other episodes, to be honest.
Yes.
And that's mainly because a lot of the more annoying people aren't as in it as much. And I think that we get back to the gory stuff again.
Yes,
there was one part that made me cringe, because it was like, oh God, that's kind of horrible. Although I the beginning of it, I'm like, are we getting into other are we getting to other horror elements, like universal horror elements here? What is going on here?
A little Burke and Hare going on.
I know. I was like, oh God, there's a little bit of Frankenstein in here. What is going on? And so, or Franken Coroner.
That's nice.
But yeah, I understand Crystal's issue with the widow, but maybe it's because their expectations of who the widow is probably don't make sense yet until they reveal who the culprit is.
Fair enough. Yep.
So I think I'm ready, not, you know, and I can understand that, but I see that also kind of like frees it up to where, okay, well, anybody can be a victim. Although she is in that picture that they looked at, that they found in that room. So she's in that specific picture that people have been dying off in. So, but yeah, I enjoyed it. This whole season they've been trying to get McCormick's character like in prison and stuff. So we get some elements with that. And again, anytime him and is the guy's name George? Is the actor's name George or character's name George? The
character's name is George.
Magician guy.
Tom Allison.
Okay. Yeah, magician guy. Like anytime him and magician guy are in the same room together, I'm all for it. Just let these two guys ham it up in their hamminess, and I'm all for it.
Literally face to face in this one.
Yeah, I love that. So, and the sisters are great. I don't like,
your
but
head.
I disagree with Crystal. I hate the religious guy, dude. I was like, I kind of wish he'd get killed off.
Almost.
Well, he
He's just
almost
annoying to
did.
me.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Spoilers,
Oops,
yeah.
yeah.
But and the real widow person, I don't know. She gets on my nerves too.
Oh no.
Except when she's possessed, then I'm okay with her. I don't know. I think I did like the elements of this, and I think we're sort of getting to a certain level to where we're building to the finale. So I'm kind of interested to see where it's going, so we can finally have that big reveal, and also we get to see that body from the last episode. I think that some of that stuff I'm like is really great practical effects with the body and stuff. So that kind of stuff I'm really happy to see, instead of some episodes where they just shy away from it, don't show it that much. They're literally just looking at that body all over. It's like, oh gosh. So yeah, so overall I actually enjoyed this episode more than some of the other episodes in the series so far.
Very good. Very good. Jeff.
I liked it too.
Yay.
I mean, Eric McCormick, Basil Garvey, like rises to even higher heights of smart acidness. This one
does.
We learned a lot of this backstory again about the doctor. We learned more about the doctor. We also learned more about where the other people might have been involved, at least Basil anyway. Not specifics, but at least what somebody says. And there's some cool scenes in the jail that I had thought were kind of fun. The two sisters, yeah, that was great. They just, they think they've got Basil figured out, but he doesn't. They have no control whatsoever. What did you say about Ukrainian ladder?
Oh dear.
Alexei.
The Alexei, he called his abs his Ukrainian ladder.
Oh. Okay. I didn't.
Yeah.
Were you not paying? Were you too gab smacked?
No, I guess I was speechless. I heard him say that, but it didn't make any sense to me. But I didn't know that's what he was. What he was
Yeah, because his abs like
Yeah.
Ukrainian ladder.
Yep.
So anyway, the whole scene with I don't know. I'll just stop talking till we get into spoilers. I enjoyed it. I thought the kills were great. I love the connection to some other horror franchises. At least it felt that way to me. Anyway.
Yeah. There's a very much so. I enjoyed this one too. Again, for various reasons, I think Christopher nailed it with our two best actors face to face, and they get the best dialogue amongst everybody.
Oh, yeah.
The pseudo seance that we have in this one is fun as well, and the preacher is not having it. I liked his reaction as much as I liked what was going on. Even though I get what Christopher's going with the character itself, but the reaction there was fun. When we get into spoilers, I've got something to say about what Crystal said with the motivations, so we'll do that here shortly. But in the end, I'm really enjoying it. We have 2 more episodes left. There's not a whole lot of suspects left to go through, and there's not a whole lot of them that can actually, we'll get to that. So why don't we do that? Why don't we dive into spoilers? And I'll start off with directly into what Crystal was saying about the motivations, because we get the widow coming up to Melinda Israel, the doctor, twice. Once while she's trying to save the preacher, and then later on. And you get the impression from the first one that she got a pass. She got a pass. Mm-hmm. Now, my suspicion is and we've said this a couple times in our reviews that there's more than one.
Yeah,
Right.
that'd be a scream scenario.
Yeah,
But wouldn't they be
someone,
working together and like have the same? I mean,
well, you would think, but I suspect there might be something up with that. But again, the suspects. I was going to say the suspects are pretty straightforward to which ones we can get, which ones we can't, because a lot of the suspects are like locked up when something happens, or at least the primary suspects, but the other suspects that I've got in my head aren't. But the second part of it ruined it because other people had gotten out by that time. They weren't no longer locked up. So now I'm like, Arr!
Well, I have a new suspect right now.
okay.
I have two, and that's why I think it's two.
Oh, let me talk.
I definitely think it's two. Wait, what?
Crystal's motivation. So, two things, because I wasn't, and you could clarify what you were talking about, Crystal, but I'm with. So the idea that she let the doctor go the first time, I just thought that was totally because she's after those people that were involved in one way or another in the killing. And so that's why killing the doctor then would have caused the death of the minister. And he's not part of that, that vengeance or that, what she's trying to accomplish. The other thing is, maybe because you didn't think that the doctor had that much to do with her death, but the doctor, manipulated the corpse to hide who the real killer was and to make it look like it was a crazed maniac slasher, Jack the Ripper type, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Got sprawled out on
to lead them away
cobblestone.
from who really did it. Those are my two thoughts, and you can explain yourself at any point. What you were really talking about.
Crystal, I think what you were mentioning was that
it was about basically the Ripper said if you need to admit what you did wrong, blah blah blah, and I thought that would make it okay, but apparently not. That's why I'm like,
yeah, because they literally said that you have to come forward. She did, and she did.
10 years.
And
Sentences death.
Yeah.
And
so
that just irritates me. I'm like, well, okay, whatever. I mean,
but you don't know who the killer or killers are, so that again, you're sort of making assumptions that.
Yeah, I agree. Like it could be, and they could maybe potentially not even be talking, right? Like not even communicating,
or not even aware of each other.
So I loved the opening scene where the guy's digging up the grave robber.
Yes.
And he takes her the 8-day-old body, and she's like, ooh, well, I'm not paying you for this old again. But then she dives right in and does her little Frankenstein experiment, gets the heart beating again, and is trying to. I love that. I absolutely loved it.
Yep.
That was weird. How did she get the heart to beat? Really? That was confusing.
It's
they kind of
Ripper science.
That. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Pseudoscience.
But
she got
Frankenscience, yeah.
Frankenstein. But she got her Frankenscience up, and she got it all.
Well, she very Frankenhookerish.
Yes,
it definitely led to her method of demise there. So
it did.
And then when she's, I think the detective comes by to get her to go check out, Salome's body. And knocks on the door. You have a shot it's like a side horizontal of the body under the sheet, and then all of a sudden she sits up, and you realize she's napping, laying on the table next to this 8-day-old corpse. I don't know why. I just thought that was funny.
Yeah. They did a good job with the Salome's corpse too. That was particularly gruesome.
Oh yeah, I mean that was. Again, I think the one thing that I've had issues with is like you start off very gory and then you don't get gory at all. And then now, I mean, we have one of our better conceived gore scenes involving that, the coroner, and it goes on. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
I was even like, okay, now I don't need to see this anymore, because when you see that arm like
Yeah.
Yeah.
rip it apart, it's so slow and methodical. It's like, oh crap.
I just want to know who did it, and I know that you're that Jeff
Well,
knows.
Well,
I don't.
you'll find out next week, because from what I see, Shudder is doing
Super
7 and 8
not cool
together.
with
I feel like it's going to be somebody that we haven't. Well, we're going to have some kind of flashback. It was this person all along, but although I will say my newest suspicion is with the one sister, because she just leaves
The older sister, yeah.
randomly. Yeah, when she leaves her little boy toy with her other sister, she goes off, and then
But
very
she's
convenient.
so small. Like, she's not very strong, and that's
The older sister?
Yeah. And the older sister's not in the picture. So
I think she's pretty wiry. Yeah, I don't think she is. I think you're right.
Because my guess is maybe that
Venetia.
the other, because the older sister doesn't seem to have any kind of inclinations towards any characters, and I feel like maybe she had some kind of relationship with her. That's just my prediction, but it may be totally wrong.
Well, they have part of the sisters connection is they had employed this Margaret before she tried to escape and get help from Garvey, and then she ends up threatening him, and he does what he does to her.
Was she in the scene when they turned her into a chicken?
That was
she was there. Yes.
The younger, but the older.
The younger, but not the
older.
older.
The older one was not. I don't think.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like that maybe
yeah.
she had some, because I think the younger sister is interested in McCormick's character, and we don't know what things the older sister might be into, and I think I don't know. I feel like there's something there that we're kind of missing, because it's so easy to look at all these other characters.
Messed up too, because
but then
the girl, but
but then you have the widow. Well, but she might be into women, spanking women.
Oh, that's true too. Fair enough.
Maybe she's into S&M.
Well, they did inflict some punishments on Verde at one point. Remember?
Yeah.
But
I don't
know.
Spanking and whipping by the two of them.
But then, I think the cool thing is you have so many different options, because it can be the widow being possessed, and the possessed version of her doing stuff.
Could be
very
Verde
Dr. Jekyll, Miss. Well, it's funny you have actually, if you think about it, we have like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type thing with her. We have the Frankie Coroner. There's a lot of universal
that's interesting.
stuff in this.
Oh, absolutely. There's kind of a, we haven't seen her much, but we're learning more about her. I think her name is Gladys. Is that?
The maid?
Yes.
Is that the maid? Yeah. Okay. I did love the scene with the maid and I don't remember her name.
Verde.
The young daughter. Yeah.
And she was trying to leave.
She's like, it's better to be loved by him than not. Yep. So that was interesting and kind of sad. And she did serve those pies.
She did.
I'm just saying, she did.
Oh, damn you!
Yeah.
That's right, because they got up in her face right?
Yep.
That's true.
And she might be strong enough. I don't know. I mean,
lots of suspects wandering around.
Yeah.
Still,
I do still think it's 2. I mean, I think that makes more sense. So I was thinking the priest or the pastor could be 1,
Can
but
he still be 1?
Sure, he could, because
we only saw him in like 1 episode though. That's
so he could totally still be 1.
The pastor was in this episode.
Yeah, he got stabbed.
Quite a few of them.
Which one is
the young one? The son.
The pastor.
Oh, the pastor. Okay, I thought you meant the pastor when Margaret goes to that church. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
Well,
that was the one that died.
He got
that was
hung.
the one that got hung.
Yeah.
That was his dad.
That got framed. So.
Is that the one? Okay.
Yeah, his father got framed and hung, and then I thought it was interesting this episode. Like last time, she figured out giving them apples didn't really help them at all. So now she decides to teach the kids to read, which is, I mean, actually what Abraham Lincoln was trying to do when they created a public school system, was to try to educate people, to give them room to go up. But it doesn't really work when you're interrupting them from their job,
Their work.
And we need this, and you don't have any idea what it's like to try to survive. So we get that social dichotomy again. And that guy doesn't waste any time.
So what, maybe it was set up. Maybe the stab was set up. Maybe it wasn't even, maybe it was a setup. And then, so, because I mean, you'd think he's innocent because you see the widow at the same time as him. But if there's two, then it doesn't matter. Maybe the widow was just checking on him. The other one was just checking on him. I don't know. I'm just saying it's a possibility. The stabbing could have come out of nowhere and could have been, you know, I don't know. We'll see.
What happened to his assistant? Where did
What
she
assistant?
go? The magician's assistant. Is she gone?
I don't
Oh,
know.
she
Yeah,
left
we didn't see
because
her. She left?
Did
I
she?
thought she left. Wasn't she
See, I don't
leaving
know.
in the last
don't know.
episode?
I don't remember her leaving.
She was packing her stuff up.
When
Wasn't she?
the police officer came to see her,
Probably
Yeah.
be the best
Yeah.
thing for
Inspector?
her to do, but
Detective Kenneth Rakers.
Oh,
Yes.
never mind.
Okay.
what?
Let's go ahead and wrap this up.
What? Oh, okay. See, he can't say
He's
something.
probably
He
thinking
knows
about
something.
something.
He's thinking of
I
the wrong
know.
episode.
I just remembered something. Yeah. So anyway,
Damn it.
no, she leaves, and I'm sorry if I spoiled that if she hasn't left yet, but she's not in this episode at all. I was thinking
Yeah,
she
no,
left
no.
the
That
last
doesn't, I
one
don't
when
think
he
that spoils
started.
anything.
She's like, we need to leave. And he's like, no, he needs to stay around because he wants to, I don't know, if he wants to contact Terrence in the afterlife, you know. I can't remember, but I remember, did you see a scene where she had her bag packed and was like, looking like she was walking out, Doc? Or am I?
I don't remember that scene. I do
Okay,
remember.
I
okay.
don't either.
Yep, you might be thinking.
I might be an episode
Looking into
ahead
the
here.
future. Looking into the future. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give our score 1 to 5 and our favorite scene. We'll do it in the same order, which is Crystal. You're
Me.
first?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give this a 4. So, you know, it's
Oh, nice.
good.
Okay.
Obviously my favorite scene is Alexi. I mean, that was the greatest scene. Like, it's so funny that she's like, I'm so depressed. My life, I'll never be happy. Nothing will ever, well, I've got you present. And then she's like, oh.
Keep the hat on.
I was like, yes. I was like, okay, so, yeah. It's, I mean, she does provide some comic relief, which is nice. So
And needed. Yep.
I just still don't get how she's just not at all bothered. Like, she doesn't seem to be worried at all that anything is going to happen to her.
No, she doesn't, does she?
Yeah. And that super duper makes me think that she's guilty, but she seems like the least likely suspect. But maybe that's the point. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out next week. All right. Christopher, your score and favorite scene.
I'll give it a 4. I actually, this is the first time I actually, well, I still, as long as I don't think about the detective guy, I enjoyed this episode more than a lot of the other episodes. The detective guy actually felt less than he normally is, but I still, every time he comes on screen and talks, it just annoys me because he just sucks all the energy out of the air.
Oh no.
But then we go to the other characters, and that's when it gets better.
Yes.
And so, I hate to say this because I'm sure I might be stealing the Doc's scene, but I'm gonna have to say when that corner show is on that slab and she lifts that arm and that thing rips off.
Yeah.
There's nothing fast about that. It just, I was like covering my mouth. I was like, oh crap. I was like, oh, whoa, okay. That's like they must have heard me
It's
talking crap
painful.
about the effects, and they're like,
Mhm.
oh, we're gonna max it out for this one.
Doesn't the arm flop into the floor?
Oh yeah, and it is.
Oh, yeah.
And I, as someone that watches a lot of movies, and you think, oh, the special effects is good. That's some really well done special effects, because
Mhm.
they just how now all because it was also different body parts and stuff, and how even just how she lifted it, just like, oh, look weird. I'm not sure about the nipple clamp parts, but yeah, I
Well, they were
yeah,
hooked onto the steel rod, so
yeah, I
they
know,
were
but it
trying
just
to
looked like it was
Oof.
like the Foulblucher or whatever from Young Frankenstein, but it's I thought that special effects is some of the best in the whole series, just based on just that scene going, oh wow, that's A+ on the special effects in this episode.
Even more than the end of last episode. Wow.
Yeah, because I still have
Okay.
issues.
All right. Fair,
There was
fair
more
enough.
detective in the last episode.
Ah, okay. Well, I meant with the Solomon
kill.
death. Yeah.
Oh well, this was felt more visceral to me for
Mhm.
some reason. I mean, the other thing was okay, but and bloody and stuff, but something about that, just the camera stayed on it. It wasn't fast cutting like the last episode. It stayed on it, and so you have to really create really great special effects. It's going to look realistic for them to pause that long on a shot. So
Very good. Very good. Jeff, your score and favorite scene.
Yeah, that scene, Chris, I was wondering, were those other arms from that other corpse, or was that hers that they cut off and then sewed on? I couldn't tell.
I feel like it was from some, possibly I would assume it's from the other corpse, because it was much lighter than her skin tone. So
yeah.
And one of her legs was kind of.
Yeah, the legs were kind of wonky.
Didn't look like it was attached either.
Yeah.
Wasn't hooked on straight. I'm going 4.5. I like this one a lot again. I do like. I'd love to name one of the Gore scenes, which were awesome. Both the intro where we see Salome and the part where the doctor is bringing the heart alive. I could expect her to go, it's alive, almost.
Yeah.
She's like, it's working. And the end demise of the doctor. But I think my favorite scene was when Garvey and George are in the adjoining cells, and they have a verbal battle and a physical battle, even though they're in other cells. And he spits in his face, and then Garvey grabs him and smashes him up, and then George, through his I don't know what you call it, prestidigitation, and his magic knots from the Orient or something, ties his arms up and leaves him hanging there for quite a while. I thought that was great. I loved it. And the dialogue was great too. I thought it was really good writing, what they were yelling back and forth at each other.
I almost picked that scene.
Eric McCormick does get the best dialogue.
He's great in this.
Yeah, he is.
Either that or he just knows how to deliver all the dialogue is better than that. I don't know.
I think he's better as a bad guy than
he does
a
make
good guy.
Comedians usually make really great bad guys.
Yeah, he's good.
So I'm going to give this a 4 as well. And my first 3 scenes have been picked. So my 4th scene is going to be the semi-seance that we have, where they tried to bring back the spirit of George's lover that died 2 episodes ago now. 1 or 2 episodes ago? 1 episode ago. Anyway, he's dead. He's dead. And but the preacher's there as well, and I loved his reaction to it. And then the fact that she changed into something else, and we don't know what that is, which is kind of leading me to the conclusions that we were talking about earlier. I think that has a big part to do with it. But anyway, I like the supernatural edge to it, and I hope that we get more of that in the next 2 episodes.
Yes, I do too. I really do want to know if it's supernatural or not because it's hard to tell. The heart beating, I was like, what? I know that's supposed to be science, but come on.
Science.
Science.
All right.
That's what you're worried about? You got some widow running around killing people left and right? That's not weird. The science part is what's screwy.
I love
Yeah.
when horror movie lovers start questioning the basis and reality of something.
Yeah.
You gotta have some justification, and they really don't show anything. It's just she takes a heart out, holds it in her hand, and the next thing you see, it's hooked up to wires and it's beating. So there is no explanation, right? You're just supposed to buy that she did
electricity.
something. The crystal's right.
Electricity.
It's always
Well,
interesting what we choose to question.
there you go. That's our review for Slasher Ripper episode 6. If things go correctly, we'll be wrapping it up and then next week with episode 7 and 8. Thank you for joining me, Crystal, Christopher, Jeff. As always, a lot of fun.
Yes, super
Yes.
fun. Thank
Yabba
you.
dabba.
Always fun.
I
Yes.
can't
And
wait
if
to finish this series up.
yes, and if you're watching this at home, leave us some comments down below. We'd love to hear what you think of the show.
Please
All
do.
right, let's get out of here. Let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Gruesome Magazine.